Hello again, everybody. It's Brian Alley Walsh along with Les East, NewOrleans.com. It's Friday out at Saints Camp, and for the most part, the hay is in the barn, Mr. Les. The Saints are getting ready to fly up to Baltimore tomorrow to play the Ravens. Kickoff is noon New Orleans time at M&T Bank Stadium in downtown Baltimore. Let's lead right off with the injury report. Let's bring the people up to snuff with where all these players stand.
Well, probably the biggest news today was a bit of a surprise when Sean Payton announced that tight end David Thomas, who had injured his knee against the Rams last week, had arthroscopic surgery on Tuesday for lateral meniscus damage, and he won't play on Sunday, probably will miss 2 weeks. So we knew he was on the report with a knee injury and probably wasn't going to play this week, but now we know he did have it scoped and will probably miss the Atlanta game as well. Chris Ivory did not practice because of the hamstring. He is listed as questionable, but it seems unlikely that he'll play. Courtney Roby was ruled out with the concussion, and defensive tackle Anthony Hargrove with a knee was limited and is questionable. Everybody else on the report is probable, and you can get those names on our website.
Yeah, and as far as Roby's replacement kick return, Sean Payton and Greg McMahon both said that they'll have Pierre Thomas and Robert Meacham back in that role. It could be that you might see both on the field at the same time. It could be just depending on situations. But those two guys will handle that responsibility. Go to Chris Ivory for just a second. It appears it's going to be a game-time decision with Chris. He's going to continue to take treatment for his strained, right hamstring, as perhaps our viewers and readers will remember that he ended up having an injection, a platelet-rich plasma injection on Wednesday, which essentially speeds up the healing process in that injured part of his hamstring. So we'll see how that develops. There's really no way to tell other than he's listed as questionable. I guess, Les, if we had to make a guess, an educated guess here, I would say that he probably won't play. But we don't know that for sure, but he's listed as questionable on the official injury report. So, and then the other thing I guess of interest for Saints fans is the weather report, the projected weather forecast for game time on Sunday in Baltimore. If you go to weather.com at this stage, it looks like it could be in the mid to high 30s at kickoff under partly sunny, partly cloudy skies, however you want to look at the half-filled glass of water, and also with winds 9 to 10 miles out of the north. However, I just got off a radio show in Baltimore, and they say that there's a chance that there could be a storm up there on day of the game. They're not sure exactly where it's going to land. It could drift into the Baltimore area. I don't think they were BSing us. I mean, I think there is that slight possibility that this storm could pass through Baltimore on Sunday. So, of course, we'll have to wait and see. But in talking with Silky, the trainers Dan Simmons and Silky, they're prepared for all kinds of weather. So they'll be ready regardless.
Yeah, and they've been doing this a long time, so they know how to prepare for an outdoor game in December, and it'll be interesting because Greg Williams actually talked a lot about that today, about building a team and a game plan for the circumstances in which you play. And he talked about how he'll change his game plan from quarter to quarter, based on factors such as the wind being with you or against you, changing weather conditions, changing game conditions, score conditions, and all that. So it's a little tricky not knowing exactly what the weather is going to be. It could be kind of like it was in Cincinnati, where it wasn't a major factor, or it could be a little bit like what we saw New England, Chicago dealing with last week if this storm should hit. So they have to be prepared for all of that, but so will the Ravens. So one way or another, they'll both be dealing with the same situation.
Now, as far as playoff possibilities this week, the Saints can actually clinch a playoff spot this week with a win, a loss by Tampa Bay, and one of three teams to lose, the Giants, Green Bay, and Chicago, I believe. One of those three teams must lose, Tampa must lose, the Saints must win. They could clinch a playoff spot. And also keep in mind Atlanta plays at Seattle on Sunday as well, so I know Saints fans will be watching, scoreboard watching that game as well as watching the Saints. So I guess that's it. So for Les East, Brian L.A. Walsh with NewOrleans.com. Aloha, everyone.